Hi, my name's Lizzie and I'm from Southampton, and I've always been coming to this church, so I've always kind of believed in God, but I remember really getting it and letting him into my life when I was about 8, and then I got baptised when I was 10. I definitely haven't found it easy to talk about my faith because I used to be so scared that people would judge me for what I believed, and they'd think weirdly of me or talk badly behind my back just because I was a Christian. I think what changed for me firstly was just doing it more. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. I realised that God was more powerful than anyone could make me feel. So I remember one time when sharing my faith went quite well was when my youth leader Tim challenged me after watching Mission Academy Live to give a 2-minute summary of the gospel at my youth group. And then there was also the challenge of showing it to my 6 non-Christian friends that we'd identified as a part of Mission Academy Live. So one lunchtime I showed it to them, the 2-minute summary, and it was received quite well. They all seemed to go away and think about it a little bit. And then two out of the 6 actually came to youth to see me do it in front of everyone, which was really cool because it was their first real experience of what Christianity was like and what I believed in. So sharing your faith definitely doesn't always go well. So one of my best friends told me once, a year ago, that she was an atheist, and I kind of thought, oh, she's just kind of saying that, I think she's open to the idea of a God. So I was at her house and we were just talking, and then we got onto the topic of religion and what I believed and what she believed. So I kind of asked her, so why don't you think there's a God? Kind of thinking she was oh, I haven't really thought about it. So I started kind of trying to talk about what I believed and what God meant to me. And then, but then I found out that she is very definitely an atheist, and everything I said, she just completely shot down with a counter argument, and she'd clearly thought about it so much that I just didn't know what to say. And I came away from that feeling like I didn't know anything and I wasn't experienced enough in my faith to kind of answer questions, because there's always going to be someone more equipped than you to answer big questions or to explain why certain things happen. I can think of another time when sharing my faith went quite well, which was I have a friend who was dealing with quite a lot of stuff. He had quite a lot of problems in his life, and he really just wasn't having a great time in general. So I started sharing my faith with him a little bit and kind of talking to him a little bit about how the God I believed in was bigger than any problem he could ever face, even though it might not seem like that. And he was interested, he really was. So I invited him to our youth group, and he came after a lot of persuasion, which was great. So he kind of really got stuck in there. He was he comes early to every single session. He's really gets stuck in. He barely ever misses a week ever. And he got some of his big questions answered, which was really useful, I think. And he was still seeming to really enjoy it and really kind of wanting to know more. So he came with our youth group this summer to Soul Survivor, which was really amazing. And I think it kind of took him just another step further along on his journey with God. And then after Soul Survivor, kind of the next natural step, and what he kind of agreed to, was to come to our church as well on a Sunday, as well as just our youth. So now he comes to church and youth every week, and it's really cool just to see the journey he's on and what God's doing in his life. I think that when it comes to evangelism and young people, something the church should consider is keeping the message alive and really clear, and not hesitating to kind of declare it boldly and really getting out there in outreach. But then again, also keeping it really accessible to young people, to every sort of young person. So not wrapping it up in certain tradition or behaviour or music that might seem kind of less appealing to someone, especially if they haven't grown up in a Christian background and they don't really have any idea kind of what normally happens in a church service or anything like that. I think that the advice I'd give to young people who are struggling to talk about their faith is to remember that the results of our obedience aren't on us, they're on God. So even if you come away from a conversation thinking, I really messed it up, I did not give the right answers, I didn't mention this or that, just remember that God sees everything and God is the one doing like the works in our friends, in our family, whoever it is, and we're just kind of his vessel to convey like his love and his grace. So don't be discouraged or feel like you're not good enough, because all you need to do is initiate the conversation and then God does the rest in their hearts. And even if it might not seem like I did anything, because I know that a lot of the time I come away from conversations thinking, well, like that just didn't achieve anything. In a week, in a year, like who knows, they might think back to that and God is doing something with that.